I want you to pause for a moment and direct your complete attention toward your feet. When you rise from your chair, what exactly do you perceive in those two appendages at the bottom of your legs? Do you experience a firm, grounded, and stable connection with the floor beneath you? Or are you instead met with an odd sense of numbness, a persistent buzzing, or an unsettling tingling sensation? Perhaps your situation is even more pronounced and it feels as though you are treading across a layer of bubble wrap, leaving you entirely uncertain about the precise location of your feet in relation to the space around you. If you are currently grappling with numbness, tingling, or a noticeable weakness in your feet and legs, then this particular episode is going to be immensely valuable and important for you. Now, the vast majority of older adults who find themselves experiencing these troubling symptoms are routinely told that they are simply dealing with neuropathy. They are informed, often with a sense of finality, that whether this condition stems from diabetes, from past chemotherapy treatments, or simply from restricted blood flow that naturally accompanies the aging process, the nerves are damaged and there is essentially nothing that can be done about it aside from taking prescribed medication and learning to adapt to the situation. But I am here today to firmly tell you that this is not the complete picture and it certainly is not the end of the story. Current research unequivocally proves that specific targeted movements can actually lead to significant improvements in the function of your nerves and can substantially reduce the debilitating symptoms associated with neuropathy. The nervous system, it turns out, is remarkably adaptable, and by compelling the brain to actively reconnect with the lower body through specific physical challenges, you can actually stimulate nerve recovery, enhance blood flow, and regain a level of stability that you may have believed was lost to you forever. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, a space where the wisdom of the East meets the science of the West, all with the goal of helping you move freely, feel younger, and maintain your independence for as long as possible. In this episode, Japan's oldest practicing doctor is going to guide you through 4 simple yet profoundly effective exercises that you can perform right in the comfort of your own home to improve your strength, your stability, and the critical neurological connection to your feet and legs. We will be providing visual demonstrations of both seated and standing variations on your screen today, ensuring that you can select precisely what fits your current ability level and physical condition. Doctor, I know that you encounter patients struggling with these very issues on a daily basis. Can you articulate why this particular episode holds such immense significance for them? It's because neuropathy has a way of stealing your confidence in a very insidious manner. When your brain cannot clearly and accurately perceive the ground beneath your feet, the simple act of walking transforms into something terrifying. You begin to constantly look down at your feet, a habit that compromises your posture and your forward vision. Your posture suffers as a result. You stop going for your daily walks. You stop visiting friends and family. The world, your world, begins to shrink around you. But what I want everyone watching to understand today is that the connection between your brain and your feet is not a permanent, unchangeable fixture. It can be retrained. These 4 specific exercises act like a powerful wake-up call to your entire nervous system. They essentially remind your body how to communicate effectively again. That is precisely the feedback I receive from my patients. They often feel as though their own body has betrayed them, and they are just living in a state of constant fear, waiting for a debilitating fall to happen. So, before we actually begin the exercises, I have a quick question for everyone who is watching right now. I want you to go to the comments section and simply type the word tingling if your feet are plagued by burning and pain, or type numbness if you find it difficult to feel the floor beneath you. We genuinely want to understand what you are going through on a daily basis. Yes. Please do share, because whether you are dealing with mild tingling or significant life-altering numbness, these exercises are thoughtfully designed to meet you exactly where you are today. Now, doctor, before we start moving our bodies, I think it is crucial to address the elephant in the room. A lot of seniors feel completely in the dark about what is actually happening within their bodies. Can you explain to us what neuropathy really is? And why does that vital connection to the feet just slowly and frustratingly disappear? This is indeed something that everyone must understand clearly. To put it in the simplest possible terms, your nerves are essentially like electrical wires that run all the way from your brain down your spinal cord and branch out to the very tips of your toes. They carry a massive amount of information back and forth between your brain and your extremities. They tell your brain where your foot is positioned in space, how hard the ground is that you are stepping on, and whether the surface you are walking on is flat or tilted. So, what exactly goes wrong with those wires, Geet, over time? Due to a variety of factors such as elevated blood sugar levels from diabetes, harsh chemical treatments like chemotherapy, or simply the natural decline in circulation that comes with aging, the protective coating that surrounds those nerves begins to sustain damage. Furthermore, the blood vessels that supply the nerves with vital oxygen and nutrients begin to shrink and become less effective. When a nerve is starved of oxygen and its protective layer is compromised, the signal it carries begins to short circuit. That short circuit is exactly what manifests as the burning sensation, the tingling, and the buzzing that you feel. That explanation makes a great deal of sense. What about the numbness that so many people experience? C. The numbness occurs when the signal drops out completely. The wire is frayed and broken. The brain is sending out a signal asking the foot, "Where are you?" And the foot is attempting to reply, but the message simply never makes it back up the leg. This is precisely why you feel as though you are walking on thick cotton or layers of padding. Your brain is literally guessing where the floor is because it is not receiving the usual clear signals. So basically, what you are saying is that neuropathy is fundamentally a communication breakdown between the brain and the extremities. But how does exercise actually fix a damaged nerve? Through a beautiful and remarkable process known as neuroplasticity. The brain and the nervous system are highly adaptable and possess an incredible capacity for change. And when you perform the specific targeted movements that we are going to demonstrate today, you actively force the brain to pay attention to the legs and feet. You increase the blood flow, which brings fresh, life-giving oxygen to those starving nerves, and you force the body to recruit new healthy neural pathways to effectively bypass the ones that are damaged. That makes perfect sense. We are essentially forcing the brain to rebuild the road that leads to the feet. Exactly. But because we are dealing with a balance and sensory issue, we must exercise a great deal of caution. If you are choosing to do these exercises standing up, please make sure you have appropriate support nearby. This could be a sturdy chair, a kitchen countertop, or standing in the corner of a room, so you have walls positioned both behind and beside you. Safety always comes first, without exception. Okay, now let's dive into the exercises themselves. And to everyone listening, remember to watch the screen to see exactly how each of these movements is performed. You will see both seated and standing options demonstrated clearly. Doctor, what is the very first exercise we should begin with? We start with an aerobic base movement. It is an alternating march. You can perform this seated in a sturdy chair or standing up if you feel stable and confident enough to do so. Please look at the visual demonstration on your screen to see the proper form for each variation. Okay, what is the specific action here? Die. If you are seated, begin by sitting up tall in your chair. Now simply march in place. Lift your right knee up toward the ceiling, then lower it back down, then lift your left knee. As you do this, I want you to pump your arms naturally and rhythmically, just as you would if you were walking briskly down the street. Right knee goes up, left arm comes forward. Left knee goes up, right arm comes forward. Why start with an aerobic exercise for a nerve problem? Because nerves desperately need oxygen to recover, and that oxygen is delivered through the bloodstream. Even light aerobic activity like this instantly increases your heart rate and dilates the blood vessels in your legs. It flushes metabolic waste away from the damaged nerves and delivers the essential nutrients they need to heal. Plus, the alternating motion forces the left and right sides of your brain to coordinate, which actively stimulates the central nervous system. How long should people perform this march? You can start by setting a timer for just 30 to 60 seconds. See how many controlled, deliberate marches you can complete in that time. From there, as your stamina improves over the coming weeks, you can work your way up to 1 or 2 solid minutes of continuous marching. Zad, I love that someone could easily do this during a commercial break while watching television. Zad, precisely. Take advantage of those small, often wasted moments. If you are waiting for the microwave to beep or the kettle to boil, do a quick set of marches. It incorporates healing cardio into your day without ever feeling like a massive, overwhelming workout. That feels amazing. It really gets the blood moving. Okay, let's keep up that pace. What is exercise number 2? The second exercise involves awakening the specific muscles that control the foot and ankle. We call this the heel-toe race. Again, you can do this seated or standing, whatever feels safest for you right now. Please walk us through the mechanics. Start with both feet planted firmly and flat on the floor. First, raise both of your heels up toward the ceiling, keeping the balls of your feet and your toes pressed firmly into the ground. You will feel your calf muscles contract. Then, lower your heels back down to the floor. Immediately rock your weight backward and lift your toes and the front of your feet up off the floor, keeping your heels planted. So we are rocking back and forth, heels up, then flat, then toes up. God, exactly. It is a smooth, continuous rocking motion. Heels up flat, toes up flat. When you lift your heels, you are working the gastrocnemius and soleus muscles in the calf. When you lift your toes, you are working the anterior tibialis muscle on the front of your shin. And why are these specific muscles so important for neuropathy, Ad? Because these are your primary stabilizing muscles. When you walk and neuropathy sets in, people tend to shuffle their feet because they are afraid of tripping. They stop picking their toes up. This exercise actively restores the range of motion in the foot and ankle. It trains the brain to pick those toes up again, which is incredibly important for preventing falls. Gah. I can feel a deep burn in my shins when I pull my toes up. Gah. That means the muscle is waking up. Most people have very weak shin muscles from years of walking on flat, predictable surfaces in stiff, unyielding shoes. We want to aim for 10 to 20 repetitions of this rocking motion. Take your time. Do not rush it. Feel the muscles contract with every single lift. So we have the march for blood flow and the heel-toe raise for ankle mobility and strength. What is the third exercise? Now we move into a movement that specifically trains the core and the brain's ability to coordinate the body. This is the seated diagonal chop. I want everyone to perform this one in the seated position first. Even if you are normally quite active, it requires a lot of focus. Okay, I am seated at the edge of my chair. Good. Make sure both feet are planted firmly on the floor. Now, I want you to actively think about pushing your feet down into the ground. Create a physical connection with the floor. This alone sends a signal from your feet up to your brain. Jad feet are pressing down. What is next? Now, clasp your hands together in front of you. Bring your clasped hands down towards your left hip. From there, you are going to sweep your arms upward on a diagonal path, crossing your body until your hands are up high on your right side. Then, smoothly bring them back down to the left hip. So I am chopping from low left to high right. Exactly. Diagonal and come back down. If your shoulder mobility makes clasping your hands uncomfortable, you can simply keep your arms separate and move them together in parallel. You will see this demonstrated on the screen. Do this 10 to 20 times on one side and then switch. Chop from low right to high left for another 10 to 20 repetitions. So basically what you're saying is that a core exercise helps the feet. Yes. And it is vital. Balance is not just about the feet. Balance requires a strong core to keep your center of gravity stable. While you are doing these diagonal chops, you are forcing your core to stabilize your shifting weight and you are maintaining that firm pressure through your feet into the floor. It is a full body coordination drill that forces the nervous system to communicate across multiple pathways simultaneously. God, that is a brilliant way to trick the brain into reconnecting with the lower body. God truly is. Core strength and leg activation go hand in hand. Once you feel confident with the seated chops, you are ready to challenge your standing tolerance, which brings us to the fourth and final exercise. Okay, I am ready for the final one. And to everyone listening, feel free to pause the video or play back anything that is unclear to you. Please listen to your body and use your own pace. We do not have to do everything in one session if you feel like you can't. Thank you for that heads up, John. Safety is our priority. Okay, for this fourth exercise, we are going to work on a modified single leg stance. Please stand up and find appropriate support. The best place to do this is standing in the corner of a room facing outward with a chair in front of you. This gives you walls behind and beside you and a chair to hold onto for support. Okay, we have our support ready. What is the movement? We are going to focus on standing on one leg, but we are not going to lift the other leg completely in the air. That can be too risky for someone with neuropathy. Instead, put all your weight onto your right leg. Then step your left foot slightly behind you and just let your left toes touch the floor lightly for balance. As you can see on the screen right now, the back foot is acting like a kickstand. Yeah, I see it. And what should the standing leg be doing? This is the most important cue. Focus on keeping the standing leg relaxed. Do not lock your knee out straight. Keep a slight soft bend in the knee. When you lock the knee, you are just resting on the joint and the bones. When you keep the knee soft, you force the muscles of the thigh, calf, and ankle to actively work to keep you upright. Oh, I can definitely feel the difference. My ankle is making dozens of tiny adjustments just to keep me stable. That wobble is a good thing. That is your nervous system firing rapidly, figuring out how to balance you. Now, see if you can let go of the chair or just keep one fingertip on it for security. You should feel your entire leg and your core working to keep your body upright. God, how long do we hold this stance? Again, set a timer for 30 to 60 seconds. Try to maintain your balance on that one side for the entire time. You then switch and put your weight on the left leg with the right toes touching behind you. Jai. And if someone finds this too difficult or too easy, how do they adjust? Jai. If you need to make it easier, plant the back foot completely flat on the floor. So one foot is just slightly in front of the other. This widens your base of support and splits your weight between both feet. If you want to take the challenge up a notch, try lifting those back toes completely off the ground so you are doing it true single leg balance. God, doctor, this has been incredibly thorough. 4 exercises, seated and standing options addressing cardio, mobility, coordination, and pure balance. Yes. And I want everyone to understand that these movements may feel simple, but the research is absolutely clear. Doing them consistently helps regain balance, strength, and coordination while actively reducing the symptoms related to neuropathy. How often should people be doing this routine? Starting with 2 or 3 times per week is a great place to start. Your nerves need time to recover after being challenged. The biggest mistake I see people make is trying to do too much too soon or never progressing their exercises and getting stuck in the same spot. Start where you are, use support, and be patient.